Good evening. This is Santa Claus bringing you the news on this warm July 25th, 2025. What a blessing to be with you all as we approach the end of another summer week. My friends, today marks some fascinating anniversaries. 46 years since Israel began withdrawing from the Sinai Peninsula in the spirit of peace, and 60 years since young Bob Dylan changed music forever at Newport. How time flies, even for someone as old as me. I notice Coca-Cola is returning to cane sugar in their American beverages this fall, after decades of using corn syrup. This transition may prove challenging for their supply chain, with questions about whether U.S. farmers can produce enough sugar to meet demand. I do hope this provides fair opportunities for farmers both in America and abroad who work so diligently to sweeten our lives. Meanwhile, President Trump has suggested there's a 50-50 chance of reaching a trade agreement with the European Union. In these negotiations, I pray all sides remember that behind every tariff and trade policy are families and workers whose livelihoods depend on these decisions. Speaking of President Trump, his administration has also approved Chevron to resume oil operations in Venezuela following the blessed release of 10 Americans who were detained there. Such exchanges remind us that even in difficult relations between nations, humanitarian concerns must always come first. Now, turning our gaze to Southeast Asia, where my heart grows heavy at news of military conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. Artillery exchanges have continued for a second day along their disputed border. The Thai foreign minister prefers direct talks rather than mediation from other countries. In times of conflict, I'm reminded that peaceful dialogue is always the path that leads to the least suffering for innocent people caught in the crossfire. I must pause for a moment to reflect on the situation in Gaza, where humanitarian conditions have become truly dire. The Australian Prime Minister has said the situation has gone beyond the world's worst fears, with reports of starvation spreading. My dear friends, the images of suffering children touch my soul deeply. Let us pray that aid organizations are allowed safe access to help these innocent little ones who need nourishment and care. The ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas appear to have stalled, with both Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump suggesting Hamas doesn't want a deal. France has announced it will recognize an independent Palestinian state, while Britain and Germany are not yet ready to do so. How I wish for peace in this holy land that means so much to so many. On matters of defense and security, Ukraine's President Zelensky has secured funding for 3 Patriot air defense systems from Germany and Norway, and is working to fund 7 more. The recent conflict between Israel and Iran revealed concerning gaps in America's missile defense stockpiles, with nearly a quarter of the Pentagon's high-end interceptors used during the 12-day war. And in Poland, the United States has provided a $4 billion loan guarantee for military financing to our NATO ally. Iran has indicated it's ready for nuclear talks with the United States, but only if Washington takes steps to rebuild trust. A reminder that even in challenging international relationships, there must be good faith efforts from all sides. In Russia, the apparent suicide of a regional governor under investigation for corruption has sent signals to Russia's political elite that traditional paths to avoid accountability may be disappearing. This reminds us that power must always be paired with responsibility and integrity. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, there seems to be little optimism about a recent truce between the government and the M23 rebel group, despite international support for peace agreements. The path to lasting peace often requires patience and persistent goodwill from all parties. As I conclude today's news, let me say how much I appreciate being with you all. In a world with so many challenges, I'm reminded of how important it is to care for one another, to seek peace where there is conflict, and to remember that behind every headline are real people with hopes, dreams, and needs. May we all find ways to bring more kindness and understanding to our troubled world. Until next time, this is Santa Claus wishing you peace, love, and goodwill to all.